Hey Artnerds, so recently I did a Dollar Tree review where I took a look at the INC Colorpoint Mechanical Color Pencils. I really like these color pencils. You can get 4 of them for $1 at your local Dollar Tree. They are basically color pencils in a mechanical pencil format and utilize 2.0 millimeter leads. You guys should definitely check out that video so you can learn more about them. Today, I wanted to compare them to the Crayola Twistable Color Pencils so we could see perhaps which one is better and which one might be right for you or for your class needs. So I picked up a 30-pack of the Crayola Twistables Color Pencils from my local Walmart a few days ago. I don't remember exactly how much I spent, but I want to say it was around $12. The reason I grabbed the Twistables is I didn't want my students getting up and sharpening their pencils. I didn't want them to have to deal with breakages. I wanted them to be able to draw uninterrupted. And that's one of the reasons why I supply mechanical pencils in my classes. So I thought these could be a really good fit for my students. So these have been gently used, but that's why we have art supplies anyway. And in the past, I've taken a look at the Crayola Twistables crayons and I wasn't super impressed. So hopefully these are a bit of a better fit. Now these are not refillable. When they're done, they're done. And once I have them out, I can get them out and show you guys. Hang on a sec. Okay, so I have all 30 of them out. You can see they come in a wider range of colors. They have a plastic body, a plastic cap, and a plastic twist back. In order to advance the lead, you simply twist them like this. And there's no refills for these. Once they are out, they're out. So that means you're generating trash when you finish them. However, these can be really great for people who might have trouble with traditional traditional color pencils, for teachers who don't want to stop the class for students to be able to sharpen their pencils, or for people who have kids and maybe they're traveling and they don't want to deal with the mess. So there's definitely a market, there's a place in the world for Crayola Twistable pencils. My only problem is all of the extra trash we're generating with these. So I picked these up for my students so they would have color pencils if they wanted to do some underdrawing with. This isn't a full review of the Crayola Twistables color pencils. You guys can check that out in another video. I'm sure I will do it. You know, I can't resist inexpensive color pencils. But I did want to compare these with the INC Colorpoint pencils I picked up at Dollar Tree. So you get 30 of these for around $7 to $12. I'm just kind of guessing. You can check the description below for a more accurate price. Whereas with these, you get 4 of them for $1. These are refillable if you can find leads to refill them with, and any 2.0 millimeter lead should fit in these pencils, whereas these are not refillable. They do not sell refills for them, and they don't seem to sell these colors open stock. So once you've run out of like half your colors, you're gonna have to buy another set. So to start, we're gonna pit 2 very like colors against each other. I would bet you this is sky blue, but it doesn't actually say, which is surprising for Crayola. They usually have the color names on the body of the pencil. We're going to compare this kind of sky blue color with this sort of non-photo blue color for the beginning of today's demonstration. So first, we're going to compare the advancement mechanism. Crayola Twistables twist from the back, and they do not come with a sharpener, although you could use a lead pointer to sharpen these. Whereas the INC Colorpoint pencils have a clickety-clickety-click back advancement, and they also have a little sharpener in them if you want a really sharp point. So these can be great as color pencils as well as drawing tools. So we're going to start with the color point, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay down kind of a field of color. These are fairly buttery, they're not overly waxy, and they're fairly easy to blend. And you guys can find all about that in my full Clearpoint review, which I'm going to link for you guys here. They can be sharpened, so you can draw details if you wish, and they have a little bit of give in them. They're not going to snap, they're going to sink back into the pencil. If you need them to extend, you can just click them forward. If you're traveling and you don't want to break the lead, you just put it all the way back into the pencil by holding the back and pressing the lead. So these are pretty simple to use, and they're very inexpensive. You can get them down at Dollar Tree. Next, we have the Crayola Twistables Color Pencils. This is a much darker color than I thought it was. It feels very soft, almost crayon-y. Not really so much like a Crayola color pencil, but more like a very thin pencil, crayon lead or a very thin Twistables crayon lead. And I may have to compare the Crayola Twistable Color Pencils to the Crayola Color Pencils just to give us a better idea. Let me grab another color and see if this is a little bit more fitting. Without the names on the barrels, you're actually very reliant on how the colors look in the pencils, and they don't really reflect what's on the pencil at all. To advance it, you twist the back like this, and there is no give to this. It does not sink into the body of the pencil, so it can be very prone to breaking. You're going to want to retract your lead. These do feel a little bit more waxy. They have a little bit more schmutz on the paper, and the coverage is pretty good. So let's grab a red. Let's lay down a field of color with the red, and then we're going to lay down a field of color with the INC Colorpoint, and we're going to use a colorless blender to blend the color and see how kind of blendable these are. Alright, so we're going to use a Prismacolor color pencil blender. This is the Crayola. It actually blends very nicely. This is the INC Colorpoint. It as well blends very nicely. So on that front, they're very similar. My next test is going to be an underdrawing test. Now, unfortunately, the blue, the very light blue they have for Crayola is actually too dark. So I'm going to switch over to pink, and we're going to do 2 pinks for our underdrawing. We're going to start with the Crayola Twistable. Now, the point of this is to utilize one color for sketching and then one color for the final art. So we're actually going to go over it using graphite, but you could try to go over it with ink. I do think all of the wax is going to cause some problems with that. So they're very soft, which makes them a little prone to slipping, and it's a little bit harder to sketch and doodle tight details. It's a little bit maybe like drawing on ice might be. Now, it is available in multiple colors, so you don't have to use pink. We're using a lighter color, because traditionally one would use non-photo blue and then drop that using the scanner. The scanner would not pick up the non-photo blue. That's why it's called non-photo blue, but we're kind of limited with what colors we have that are very light, so we're going to go with pink. Alright, so that was the Crayola Twistable, and since the Crayola Twistable does not have a clip on it, they are somewhat prone to rolling. They could be very prone to rolling off your desk, and once the lead inside snaps, that's probably it. I can't really, I would think, given the mechanism, the lead would just slide out, and you'd be left with whatever was still up in the clutch. So next we're going to use the INC Colorpoint. What's neat about this is the lead is actually fully removable. Once you've removed it, if it should break, if it should snap, you can just refeed it through this tube here. And it uses a clutch mechanism to hold the lead rather than a spring mechanism. So you can sink it back in very easily. Also, if you press too hard, it will kind of sink into the pencil itself. So it kind of protects itself. So let's sketch with this one now. This is a harder lead, which I think makes for better sketching. Maybe it would not make for better coloring, but it's for better for sketching. You can sharpen these. They have a little sharpener on the cap, so if I wanted really fine details, it would be very easy for me to sharpen these. The only problem would be it does generate a little bit of a mess, so you're going to want to stand over a trash can or a trash bag. This one is less prone to slipping on the paper because it doesn't seem to contain as much wax. Okay, so that's just for sketching. Let's try penciling over it now. And I'm just using an inexpensive mechanical pencil that I picked up at Dollar Tree. It is an INC or an ink side clicks. So it is a side advancement. I actually have a review of these here on this channel. So this goes over the Crayola Twistable fairly well. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to cut through the lead too much, but if you drew really thickly, it might be more like trying to draw over crayon. And I have other videos where I kind of talk about using colored leads for underdrawing and why someone might do that and why that might be something that's beneficial for teachers to show their students. For me, it was a drawing game changer. It really changed how I pursue drawing and how I kind of organize my art. I apologize for the phone ringing in the background. I'm visiting with family and working just kind of under real world working conditions. So that's just a little bit of real life for you guys. And I do need to test for erasability, so that will be another quality I test in a moment. But I'm not having too many problems kind of penciling on top of this. All right, now let's do the INC Colorpoint. And I did this in my INC Colorpoint review, but I'll do it again for you guys in case you haven't seen that review yet. So one of the plus sides of the Twistables is they're a popular product. They're not likely to go off the market anytime soon. They've been around for a while, so it's not like you're gonna fall in love with something and then Walmart or Crayola decides they're just gonna quit making it out of the blue. The thing about buying product from Dollar Tree, especially things that are a little bit novel, different, or new, is that they can go off the market without any notice at all. For whatever reason, if production drives the price of the product above $1, they're no longer feasible for Dollar Tree to carry. So that might be a reason not to get attached, is just because many of us who love art supplies, you know the pain of falling in love with something and then you can't get it anymore. So the Colorpoint is very easy to draw on top of. And I think the fact that you can sharpen it very easily is a huge plus point because it makes them useful for young artists. It makes it useful for older artists. The Twistables, they're the sort of art product that you might purchase because you're dealing with younger students and you want to use something that's non-toxic and safe, something you can find anywhere and something that's really cheap. But it's not necessarily your first choice in product, whereas the INC Colorpoints, despite being a Dollar Tree product, are much closer to what an artist would expect when purchasing art supplies to use to create art. So these could be a really good introduction for students to kind of like, this is what real artists use sort of thing. But both were fairly easy to draw on top of. Let's do a side-by-side erasability test. Now in the INC Colorpoint test, we found that they weren't perfectly erasable. They're not designed to be perfectly erasable. Crayola does make erasable color pencils. I have reviewed them. I hate them. So, you know, color pencils are not always designed to be erasable. It's nice when they are. They're more useful for underdrawing when they are, but they're not always designed for that. So this is the Crayola Twistable, and this is the INC Colorpoint. Twistable is somewhat erasable. There is some ghosting, but it's somewhat erasable, as is the INC Colorpoint. I would say they're about equally erasable. So using them as a drawing product for underdrawing, I would say in the erasability regard, they're both equally erasable and they're both equally useful for that. Now, something I liked about the Colorpoint is that it's very much like a regular pencil body. You can put grips of your choice on them, which could be great for accessibility or for comfort. The Twistables, you have to work a little bit harder, but you can get grips on them as well. So that's also nice. If I were using these as just color pencils and not as a drawing tool, I wouldn't bother putting grips on them. But if I'm using them as a drawing tool and my arthritis is starting to flare up, then the grip will go right on it. So I think that for now, as of this review, testing the qualities that we've tested, Crayola Twistables and the INC Colorpoints are fairly comparable. They could be great tools for teachers to use when teaching their students constructive human anatomy or how to design and lay out a face. I think they both have good classroom use, and it may just fall down to accessibility and price point. Now, you get 4 Colorpoint pencils for $1, and you get 30 Twistables for about $12 to $13. And I haven't done the math, and math is not my super strong suit, so you guys are gonna have to give me just a moment and I'll come back with some numbers. Okay, feel free to very gently correct my math in the comments below. I didn't use a calculator and I didn't really go to much effort to break down the numbers to something really accurate, but the Colorpoint pencils, you get 4 pencils for $1. They're 25 cents a pencil. The Crayola Twistables, you get about 30 pencils for $13. It's really going to vary in your area. I have seen some Walmarts cheaper. I've seen some Walmarts more expensive. If you buy the larger pack, they also get cheaper from there. So it's approximately 45 cents, probably less than 45 cents, but in that range per pencil. So the Crayola Twistables are more expensive than the Dollar Tree Colorpoint pencils. Also, the Crayola Twistables, when you're writing, they're much more prone to like kind of catching on the paper, being a little bit gummy, so they might not be great for fine detail work. There's still a waxy gumminess. You can even see sort of a wax bloom on the leads themselves. And I don't have that problem at all with the Dollar Tree Colorpoint pencils. Okay, so that was a really quick side-by-side comparison of Dollar Tree's INC Colorpoint pencils versus Crayola's Twistable Color Pencils. They are both really good products that might have use in your classroom, and I think it's probably going to boil down to what is available in your area, what you can get, and what quantities you can get them in. What I would like to see from Crayola is take a page, believe it or not, from INC and Dollar Tree's book. Make your twistable pencils refillable. Make the leads less like crayon leads because they are color pencils. Make them more like color pencils where the leads are harder and less waxy. And I think you could have a really great product. If you could even include a sharpener for your twistable color pencils, the way the Colorpoint color pencils have a sharpener, that could be great as well. Now, I do acknowledge that Crayola Twistables are aimed at a younger audience, that the Colorpoint pencils are not necessarily aimed at a younger audience, and that I would need to supervise students using the Colorpoint pencils, if only because they get really, really sharp when you sharpen them, and there are some metal parts that could cut kids. The sharpener itself is actually completely covered. You'd have to get pretty destructive to get the little sharpener out from there. I'm sure it could be done. I've seen crazier things. So these are a product that would need to be used with supervision, especially with younger kids, whereas the Twistables, probably not so much. I think if a kid went to stab somebody with the lead, it would just break. Whereas a sharp Colorpoint lead, that could definitely break the skin. So I think they both have classroom use. I think they both have classroom value. And I really look forward to reviewing the Crayola Twistable Color Pencils as their own product and comparing them with existing Crayola color pencils, particularly just the regular Crayola color pencils that you can get at any Walmart. I do have the nicer Crayola Signature color pencils as well. I don't think these are comparable to those, but I do really like those. So if you're interested in learning about some higher end Crayola products, you should check out my Crayola Signature reviews as well. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today, for watching this video. I hope it was useful, helpful, and informative. I hope you guys will keep an eye out for a full Crayola Twistables review in the near future. As always, I am trying to create videos that are useful, helpful, and informative for a wide gamut of artists. So if you are a professional artist who's watching this video and you've got kind of the skunk face going on, like, why is she wasting her time with that stuff? It's because I come from an economically repressed area. I grew up in an economically repressed area, and I understand that having limited access to supplies and having limited funds can have an effect on an artist's life and growth. It definitely had an effect on mine. So I go out of my way to review products from a wide range of places and price points to try and find stuff that works for every artist at almost every stage of their career. And I really love reviewing very inexpensive supplies for beginner artists and for children who might not otherwise have access to art supplies. So this is something that's still very important to me and is kind of part of my core mission. So I hope you guys found this helpful, useful, and informative. If you are a teacher and you're looking for recommendations for affordable art supplies that are actually going to perform and aren't just going to be garbage, feel free to email me, let me know. I'm happy to talk about those sort of things. I want to help you guys find art supplies that are going to work for your students and work for your classes, so feel free to email me and ask me questions. I'm happy to help. This video was not sponsored, it was not paid for, everything was purchased out of my own pocket, reviewed of my own volition, and compared by my own curiosity as an artist and someone who teaches art classes. So my opinions are my own, and if you have different experiences, if you'd like to suggest a product, please let me know that in the comments down below. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you guys will check out some of the other videos I've mentioned today, and I hope to see you guys again really soon. Bye guys!